All right, welcome back to Radio Respawn, all my little chickadees. Roll over in that bed, turn up the volume on that AM radio, and enjoy. We got a good show for you tonight. Woo! I only do the voice when the glasses are on. That's how that works, Jerry.
Hey, if you're listening at home, go Google Wolfman Jack.
Yeah?
Turn of the last century radio personnel.
See just truly how old my reference is.
The Star Wars crowd may be familiar with
before we get too deep into this, let's have everyone introduce themselves. We'll start down here. I invited a special guest, one of my old buddies here.
Hi, I'm Jerry Duggan. I'm like a professional asshole.
I like that title.
Yeah.
Chris Lockey, asshole in training.
I'm APL, producer and co-asshole on Team Respawn.
Yep.
I guess.
And I'm Mr. Sark, gaping asshole. So we have, there's a
See
few
you in the comments thread.
Yeah. There's a few things we've got to fly through today. First up that I wanted to mention is the trailer for the new Mortal Kombat series that Machinima is doing
Legacy
with
Deuce.
Warner Brothers
Yeah.
is out. And I thought it looked pretty pimp.
Yeah.
I saw it at the Streamies, and unrelated to. I'm not a employee of Machinima. We all thought it looked great. I was there with.
That's right. You
Hardwick
were
over the
writing for
weekend.
the Streamies, huh?
I wrote for Hardwick a little bit. Hardwick really writes himself, but
Yeah.
he makes me look good. But
God,
yes,
we
I
could
was
do
there.
a whole show on that guy. He's a laugh.
Jonah called him Nerdcrest.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually exactly who
Sweet.
the Nerdist is. Yeah.
Yeah, he did an impressive amount of work last weekend.
He
gotta
did
say-
two shows. Vegas too.
2 shows for BBC. Then he did the Streamies on Sunday night, and then he did Sunday night Talking Dead. That's a lot of
That's a lot of work.
television.
Fucking hate him.
I
For a
gotta
weekend.
admit, almost 2 decades ago when he was doing Singled Out with McCarthy,
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
no idea that this was going to be the same guy.
Yeah, he handled. There's also while we're on the topic of Hardwick, he handled a drunken developer
Heckler, right?
at the DICE Awards that stumbled up onto stage masterfully to the point where even the YouTube comments that don't normally notice some of those finer points were like, Jesus. I think the top comment was all caps, maximum hosting level achieved. Just like it was awesome.
He's good.
So Mortal Kombat, the new series is coming out. I mean, even working here, I have no intel beyond what I saw in the trailer. It looks like the classic Shang Tsung is back.
Yes.
Casper Van Dien is back.
Van Dien as Johnny Cage.
Well, not back. Yeah, he's entering the fray.
He's back to
Yeah.
the world of entertainment.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to take the same form as the first, because the first season was sort of almost like non-connected,
Yeah.
like sequences on each character, and this looks like it might be a little bit more long form. I don't know.
I mean, I will say, I don't want to be a dissenter here, but I will say, as I was mentioning to Jerry earlier, that first series, the first miniseries, was distinctly lacking the ninjas from Mortal Kombat. And so, it's already in the can, but that's kind of what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Is them actually
Let's
diving
get some
into
cardboard boxes in here, and you can clear out your fucking desk.
Yeah.
So I actually have prepared
GG,
everything
Lucky.
before the show. This is,
Man, I thought we told you not.
I know.
Jeez, Lucky.
Listen,
All right, now speaking of ninjas, sort of segue fail. I don't know yet.
It works. It works.
The reason that I thought it would be cool to have you on, Jerry, is because there is a bunch of like heat right now on Deadpool with game news, movie news, and you and Brian are writing the comic for Marvel. So I thought it would just be cool to get. And you read the comics.
I'm a fan.
And APL and I don't have a fucking clue. So
I'm here to learn.
we're gonna
as
get
usual.
we're going to get schooled. So, Jerry's writing Deadpool. And so I want to start with Deadpool 101, first off.
Yeah.
What is... All I know about Deadpool is that he's all stitched up and fucked up from X-Men Wolverine Origins or whatever, and he's played by Ryan Reynolds. That's the extent of it. So I need to know what his powers are, like what's Deadpool's deal.
Well, when Marvel asked Brian and I to pitch on the book, we just thought we're going to make a clean slate. Nobody wanted to reboot Deadpool, but we thought we're going to reintroduce him to people that might not have read him. And I think, I think it was successful. The first couple issues are going into reprints. We wanted to open with a big comedy before things get a little bit more serious. Basically, you meet Deadpool. His face is fucked up. He looks like a zombie. He's got a healing factor, and that's really all you need to know about him right now.
Okay.
We're going to reintroduce some other things in the second arc. But if you wanted to go back and read some of the older comics, there's a vast amount of Deadpool comics that you can pick up. His origin is a little convoluted, and so Marvel wasn't really excited for us to go playing around too much in the Weapon X department, but he's a product of the same program that made Wolverine.
Got it.
But he's a washed out
Now you're speaking
reject.
Now you're speaking our comic retard language.
Yeah. He
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Yeah, he flunked out of the program that made the guy with the claws.
Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. So at its very basic and without any of the frills so far, he's got a healing factor, and there's been some experimentation done on him by those people. Those peeps.
Yeah, and Jerry mentioned the comedy. That's a big part of it. I think
and look, it is.
Really...
It's a chance to be funny in a Marvel book that is not always welcomed or invited.
Yeah, you mentioned
and he breaks the fourth wall occasionally, where he knows he's aware that he's self-aware enough that he knows he's in a comic occasionally.
Arguably one of the most self-aware comic book characters in print.
That's why in the video game trailer that everyone got psyched for, he's like talking to the narrator and all that. That's
you'll even see it in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when he's in there. That's why all of his stuff plays straight to the camera that we don't have here.
I got to be honest too. I mean, all this stuff that was very exciting about Deadpool happened before Brian and I arrived. So he was at a very nice cruising altitude.
Right. Before
there was only a chance for us to really take him down.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We're going to lose cabin pressure.
No pressure.
I mean, look, the sales have been wonderful, but we don't have anything to do with the video game. We're civilians. We're on the outside looking in on that. And the movie, too. I met, though, the director, and he showed me on his phone a sizzle reel for the movie that blew me away. Totally blew me away.
I think all that's still top secret, technically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
getting some exclusives from Jerry right now. I like this.
It was really, really cool.
There's a movie coming out.
Well, yeah.
But I looked up before we had recorded this AM radio broadcast and live, sent it out live.
Yeah, live.
Record this.
Yeah, no.
And I didn't see a release date or anything, so
it's not been greenlit is the real honest answer. They wrote there's a feature script. I think they have Ryan Reynolds cast for it, and they have a very compelling short to sell it. But it hasn't moved forward, and I don't know that it's going to. They certainly don't talk to us about that kind of stuff. But I think too, if you see the video game do very well, my guess is you'll see, here the movie will pop. But we're very much right now on the outside of that.
Yeah, but you're spearheading this whole new Deadpool initiative, man. Don't undersell yourself. Well, I have been reading this comic book as it's been on and off for probably longer than some of our viewers or listeners have been alive.
Thank you.
So
who's watching us now?
Not me. Yeah.
You guys are you've got some high standards to live up to, but I think you guys are doing a bang up job. I mean,
well, thank you.
It's the comedy angle is a big part of it, but it's always really dark. I like to think of.
So I should read this.
I think you should really read this. I mean,
I
it's
haven't
almost
read it,
like Wade
but
Wilson is like this older brother or cousin of Spider-Man's who doesn't take any shit. He talks the same shit, but he doesn't.
Sark is the godfather to my son. The least you could do is read it.
If this doesn't make me laugh, Jerry, I'm telling you, I'm going to launch a big smear campaign. I'm making it personal.
The internet is where you go to be hated. I appreciate it. Thank you for picking it up. And
there's more Deadpool fans in the office too. I'm curious too. Let us know in the comments if you are familiar with Deadpool beyond the X-Men movie. or if you have,
Which might as well not
you're a
even
rookie.
be in existence. That doesn't strike that from the record. Strike that shit
I
from
can't.
the record,
It's
please.
permanently.
That's all I know, man.
I do have to say one thing about the comic too, or a couple of things that I just want to get out of the way very quickly. Marvel was very, very good to us. They gave us Tony Moore, who drew The Walking Dead, co-created it with Robert Kirkman, and he's a superstar, and he's the star of that book. So we had him, and we had Jeff Darrow on covers. And if you don't know those two names, you should literally go out and buy everything that those guys have drawn or co-written, because everything is wonderful. Darrow is just a mad genius, and so we knew that it was a very strong security blanket.
Yeah.
And now Tony's leaving the book at the end of issue 6, and a guy named Mike Hawthorne is going to take over, and he's wonderful. He's going to make you not miss Tony, and I don't say that lightly. And so those two issues, issue 7 and issue 8, are going to be under-ordered, and they're going to be very difficult to find because people are going to think, Tony's leaving, I'm going to bail on the book. I actually think the book gets better. Issue 7's nuts.
So where is it right now?
Issue 5.
Issue 5 is brand
came out
new.
the 20th of February.
Yep.
Issue 6 is at the printer, and then issue 7 and 8 I think double ship. So it'll be a busy spring for Deadpool.
Yeah. So I have a question about Jeff Darrow, because I know some of his stuff from my behind-the-scenes Matrix.
He
DVDs.
drew everything that you saw up on the screen in the Matrix that was special, from the pods.
So is he a weirdo?
To the Sentinels? No.
Is Jeff? No, because his pictures make me think like he's a precog from Minority Report, like a weird psycho.
He
Peas in jars and draws.
Yeah, he did. He worked with Frank Miller on Hard Boiled, and then Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. And he's known for very hyper detailed, big widescreen pages, and that's what the Wachowskis. That's what they loved about him, and so they brought him in to draw The Matrix. He's the most normal, most humble guy. We did a Image comic years ago called The Last Christmas, and he drew our first cover, and he sent it to me in a tube. And when I opened the end of the tube to take the art out, he didn't have a scanner big enough for it, so this is me seeing it for the first time. I was totally floored. It's an amazing cover. And then this note falls down out of the tube, and the note basically said, I don't know if this isn't.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it said, "Fuck you. This took me 23 and a half hours a day."
Christmas,
He was
asshole.
like, if this isn't what you're thinking, you don't have to use it.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
This brilliant humbleness.
But he's really
should have
wonderful. He's
trolled
the
him.
nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He's just, you go find him at a Comic-Con and look at his originals. It's really something special.
If he wasn't such a legendary artist, that's the perfect opportunity to just lay such a huge troll on that dude.
This is
What is this shit? How dare you waste
my work with this cover.
All right, so that's Deadpool primer. God, that's just not. It's just not. I guess I just have.
We got to read it, man.
huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing.
All right, Jerry. Fine, I'll read your goddamn comic.
The cornerstone of it really is our take on Deadpool is he's not the hero you want, he's the scumbag you need. And so that's nice. A riff off some other pop culture elements there, but nobody likes to be photographed next to Deadpool. Nobody wants to be seen teaming up with Deadpool. Deadpool doesn't really take things seriously, but there's that other side of him where, look, he looks pretty fucked up.
Right.
And he covers up a lot of that stuff, not just with the mask, but with humor. And so we're going to explore more of that going forward. Rick Remender did a nice job with Deadpool, a different take on Deadpool in X-Force, too, if you want something that is a little more
Uncanny
serious.
X-Force?
Uncanny X-Force, that's right.
Geez. All right. Well, I mean, I'm curious to, now I've got all these questions that the only solution
We
is
don't
to
have
go
time
back
for
and do
these.
my
We'll have to do
research.
these
Yeah, like
offline.
Deadpool love interests. Where does his name
He's
come
not
from?
the love
all that
interest kind
stuff.
of cat as much, although there are a few.
Or
He's got married.
is he?
Or is he?
Oh, if you could only see my face.
That was my dramatic hamster.
That was pretty good.
Great.
Do you guys find that there's genres of nerdy interests that you just sort of skip for time reasons? Like for me, for some reason, comics beyond some Avengers like back in the day. I don't know.
Man.
They're awesome. I love them. I just don't have time for it.
Not enough time in the world. I got 2 nerd interests.
If I adopted comics, I'd have to ditch my magic cards.
Games and masturbation, man. Those are my 2.
Or
Jerry's just gonna murder me.
Your nerdy voice lessons.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I have I have blind spots. I didn't have a TV when Buffy came out, so I've never seen an episode of Buffy. And so, same as Doctor Who. Like when that came back or was cool, I didn't have the TV at the time. I don't think
There's a certain level of judgment and elitism within this whole realm of nerdom. Like, you don't feel comfortable. Like if you're in a group of people, I mean, it's uncomfortable to say if everyone's freaking out about some specific, like if it's a comic book, to be like, I have no even idea. Like I've heard of it, but it's like there's that certain judgment where you're like, oh god,
Somebody
they're all
needs
judging
to
me
tell
so
that
hard.
to the horde of assholes that are crowding Hall H at Comic-Con every year because it's turned into this pop culture clusterfuck.
Well, this is the
It's not
elitism
even-
I was talking
Some
about.
lady got ran over last
boy.
year.
Here we go.
We talked.
Chris, you're
that was
proving
a
my
different
point, man.
Episode of Radio Respawn.
I don't think there is a genre of nerdy interest that Lockie is missing.
Lockie's
I don't
informed
think
on
a
the
single
When it turns
one.
into a subgenre, that's when I start hating it. Like when horror became vampires or zombies, that's when it starts getting.
I saw a very funny sign at Comic-Con 2 or 3 years ago. It was Twilight ruined Comic-Con. Just somebody
Yeah.
like
Well, that I
walking
could get
around like
behind.
Yeah.
Rorschach and the Watchman with the sign. I was like, ugh. God.
It's pretty true.
I'm glad that the new thing there is all the Christian power, Jesus power showing up now. So
There was
crossing
a
the
lot of
street
Jesus
back
power,
and
yeah.
forth in front of the convention center, it's like really aggressive Christian.
There was this Zach Galifianakis looking dude out front who was just red in the face, screaming over a bullhorn, and the spit was just flying.
And yet zero creativity. There
Yeah,
wasn't
no.
one. There wasn't one Zod hates
no
sign.
no.
You
Yeah.
know, where
Nope.
you're just like,
Nope.
think about this, guys.
Yeah.
Everyone is going Comic-Con. Just think about what you're doing for 2 seconds. If you're going to be evil, like be evil, and
Clever
if you're going
way.
to try and deprive people of
Yeah.
their rights, make it.
That's a good
put
point.
a tiny little bit of
Jesus
thought
would
into
be
the
bummed.
presentation.
Jerry, would you consider writing for those people? That was a good one right there. If they pay, right?
You can, you asshole,
Jesus.
you horrible assholes can find me on Twitter at Jerry Duggan.
There you go.
Let's talk real quick about another nerdy interest that I know a few of us share, and you don't. Now
I
you're
don't.
going to play
No
the part
qualms.
of those who.
I'm the
aren't-
audience.
All right.
That
I'm
may
afraid
not
I know where this is going. The panties are dropping in the lobby as we speak.
Oh yes.
Oh boy.
The bro panties.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, D&D.
Yeah.
I
How
DM.
about it?
You play.
Yeah.
You play.
I live it, man.
We haven't. You live it. You haven't played
boy.
yet, but Jerry and I have been playing D&D for years.
yeah, how long
and we're
exactly?
we're actually involved in like a podcast right now called Nerd Poker with Brian, where we play. and
Posehn,
we
you haven't
just-
said Brian Posehn this whole time. You just
Brian
keep saying
Posehn,
Brian.
yeah.
Brian Posehn,
Well, I
comedian Brian Posehn.
Yeah, comedian Brian
friend of
Posehn.
Yeah.
And he's
This guy's a professional media type.
yeah.
No, it's good.
telling you.
I'm just a fan of Brian's. I want him to find his album live in Nerd Rage. It's really funny. Check it out.
Is he paying you? What's
Yeah, I know.
going on?
Actually, I'm getting your cut
he
from
get to you?
Earwolf that
Yeah.
you guys aren't getting.
Is that dried Brian jizz on your upper lip? No, so
Joel
we've
looks a
been
little
playing.
inflamed.
I thought we have 3 D&D players here. Maybe we could talk real quick about D&D,
I'll be over
and
here.
you could grill us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll be over there. You're just gonna leave.
No, I'm kidding.
No, so we talked about doing this a long time ago, but Brian kind of pushed this through, and we're doing this podcast now where it goes up in approximately hour-long chunks, and we just play these these sessions. And I'm really curious. Have you listened to it?
I have. I've listened to the first 3 episodes.
What is it
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't play D&D?
It's-
like I have no frame of reference. What is that like?
Well, first of all, I mean, you guys have a group of people that are really funny, so I think that helps. I didn't realize how D&D in my mind is associated with basement, sweaty nerds, which is
All
not
right. Nope,
necessarily.
that's fair.
That's just my gut, which is not necessarily
That's
true.
fair. It's
you guys kind of right away.
Antiquated, but
Exactly. You guys right away took that away, and it was, it's funny, and it made me interested. I mean, the first couple episodes made me interested in actually trying out the game because it kind of took a lot of my misconceptions away. I thought it was like way too complicated to like understand. It was always kind of daunting for me back in the day. And I don't know if that's because of my friends that played it.
I've actually seen some of that same reaction just vaguely on Twitter where people are saying, oh, you know, I'm either playing my first D&D game in years or my first D&D game ever.
Right.
Then, you know, that makes it all the worthwhile.
Yeah.
Somebody at Wizards needs to. Well, I guess they tried with this new edition, 4th edition, but it's still so intimidating. Like if you want to play D&D and you go and you look at that wall of books, it's like it doesn't have to be complicated, you guys. And people come at me because I'm the DM or the storyteller of the group.
That stands for Dungeon Master, right?
That stands for Dungeon Master.
Just making sure.
And guys come at me for not being like super on point rules wise, and I'm like,
well, I've got something.
My theory there is if you want to play D&D, I mean there is the initial sort of learning curve. You got to hop in, learn the rules, but as soon as you do, fuck the rules. That's true mastery. Yeah, trash them.
Wow, this is going to be very controversial in the D&D community.
That's not controversial. Technically, that's what it says at the back of the original Dungeon Master's Guide of the 1st edition of the game. How
about a national treasure to go get that document?
As a matter of fact, it's
sign up in the cage again.
Find out what Gary Gygax really wanted from us.
They did a reprint of that last year, though. They did like an interview. They've been doing that a lot of reprints. It seems like they're mining old territory instead of forging some new ground from time to time.
Well, there's like a new they're working on their new edition because there's a lot of people sort of recoiled against the 4th edition.
Well, there are elements I think of video gaming now that so much of what made D&D special was mined into video games. And then it seemed to echo back a little bit. Would you agree? Some of that,
4th edition is World of Warcraft on pen and paper.
Here's the thing, though. It should be fun. I try and encourage people to play D&D. And if you're really playing it really right, you almost shouldn't even be able to tell what edition it is. It should all essentially sort of play out the same with a few little obvious, dice rolls.
The things that were different about your campaigns, though, were that they were often, or always, at least the ones that I played with you, they were always original content that you had written.
Yeah.
We sort of, I think, drove you mad breaking the game.
Yeah, no, that's what it's there for.
But we never played the modules. We never played the
because my whole thing is like, why would I?
Yeah, I was grateful.
Why would I want you? Why would I play like a game where you could go to the store and buy it and see what happens at the end? Not that you would, but Blaine would.
Just like a passive moderator.
Blaine knows all the little tricks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is not me being a pretentious asshole, but when Gary Gygax and the guys made the game back in the day,
any statement that starts with
they're really
Mina.
I've cultivated this. It's my own fault.
Go ahead.
The point is, when they made
asshole, Lockie.
When they made the game back in the day, back in the 70s, the whole idea was to create a game that broke against the constrictions of, they kept referencing the modes and the models, what would become known as a module. The fact that this pre-designed adventure had the same outcome for everybody that played it is in opposite defiance. No, that's a double standard.
Yeah, just in defiance.
It's in defiance.
Yep.
It is contradictory to the aesthetic and philosophical goals of the game in the first place, which is to have this open form content where you do create. It's improvisational storytelling and hearkening back to the days in the sandbox just as much as it is resolving a set of combat maneuvers or something like that with dice.
God, I started to hear the national anthem fade up in the
welling.
background. That was like the
I was hearing the Game of Thrones
I started thinking
theme.
about the architect in the Matrix.
We will not go quietly into the night.
Ergo
vis-a-vis.
D20.
Vis-a-vis. Oh man,
it's true though. I mean, I listened to this insanely long rant by Robert Kuntz last night, coincidentally, who is one of the guys that came up with Gary Gygax, and this is a profound impact. And really, if you're a creator of any kind or a fan of anything, if you enjoy being a human being,
Wow.
Dungeons and Dragons is a positive influence
Holy
on
shit.
that lifestyle.
Lockie going hard on humanity.
You know what I always thought about Gary Gygax? He was a Vietnam War vet, right?
I cannot confirm or deny that suspicion.
I think he was. I always thought, man, like, I wonder if that had anything to do with,
There was a lot of anti-establishment talk.
Imagine the fucked up stories he sent his dudes on. They're like, he's like, you're outside a grass hut. Oh, Gary, come on. Another grass hut, Gary? Do we have to? He's like, what are you going to do? I don't know. But do you want to use that flamethrower that you got last week? Come on. I already know it's full of Vietnamese people, Gary. Just what are you going to... No, I don't know. You don't know until you open it. Fuck you, Gary. We haven't done that yet. We need to... God... I'm banking that.
Oh, geez.
A Vietnam-themed story.
You would love it.
Jeez, it's going to get real racist.
Jeez.
Hope you're ready for that.
Dude, yeah, that's the thing. You're not going to find a racist Vietnam flashback module on the shelves.
Twilight Zone, the D&D game. By the end of it, a few kids and some actors will die.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, between Lockie's eloquent speech there and the 3 episodes I've listened to so far, I do want to give D&D a try.
Yeah?
So, yeah. Will you be my dungeon master, sir?
Maybe.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I know.
worst Valentine ever.
Yeah.
50 Shades
You
of
be my
Sark.
DM.
Is that something D&D people do? Do they
we
ask
got to
each other to be
pry. We got to
DMs?
pry APL loose from the League of Legends for a little bit. But
Yeah, well, that's my center of nerdom.
I'll give you the.
Give me the rundown.
Yeah, the cocktail napkin version. We'll see if you
All right.
see if you're into it.
All right.
All right, you guys rock. Thanks for coming on and giving us Deadpool 101, Jerry. Final
If only
thoughts?
there was some way that I could show the listening audience at home the cover
over the AM.
of this Deadpool issue. I do hope you'll try it. You can walk into a store and get it. You can please pre-order the book if you want to see it on the shelves, and it's available to download on at Marvel.com.
The AM radio technology is so limited.
It is,
Sometimes I
yeah.
wonder why we ran with that one. We
Yeah.
should have done video or something.
Could do that
on
one over.
YouTube.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Next time, do CB radio or something.
Ham.
We're gonna
Ham
do
radio.
CB
Hey, it's Sark. Come back.
Breaker
Yeah.
19.
Big bop out of my
respawn.
chair.
I got bowling to talk about.
Yep, that's right. We mentioned this in a show last week, but there is an actual a bowling charity that we're shouting out here. Machinima is working with this charity called Walk with Sally, where they're raising money for mentorship programs for children with loved ones fighting cancer.
Yep.
So, and it's going down on March 2nd. There's a link in the description for donations, but it's sort of cool, and I'm interested in seeing. I'd be bowling, but Tiesto's in town, so yeah. If my mom dies on March 1st, I will be unable to attend the wake because I will be living in the future with Tiesto.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Is Tiesto like a Mexican beer? What is Tiesto?
His Mexican boyfriend.
wow.
Is this one of your I'm going to put on a white suit and
Lose
run
my
around
number,
a
Jerry.
nightclub like
If
a
your
jackass?
character in our D&D game wasn't dead already, and if they didn't die every time we played, I would. And whatever. D&D threats all sound so hollow. That's it for the show, you motherfuckers. Don't you go nowhere. We'll be back next week for some more Radio Respawn. You just lay right there. Don't even get out of your bed. Sun comes up. Fuck you.
Where'd Sark go?
Fuck you, Jerry. Go read Deadpool. Tune in for some bowling charity. Whoa! Oh, jeez.
Get over here! It has begun.